I don't have a WWE fan base.
Man, these knuckleheads are not going to amount to nothing.
I was on Forbes and great. And then what?
I'm sorry, you guys, but like, I want y'all to remember why y'all love me.
It's one thing to not do something because you can't. It's another thing to not do something because you choose not to.
But some people just don't know how to balance that. I don't want to put anything out there that would make people question what I do.
You won't be hot forever. You may always get respect.
There may be other people in front of me, and I'm cool with that. I'm some of y'all favorite famous people, content creator. I promise you, I'm like the best kept secret. Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to episode 92. One step closer to this 100, and we have a lot to talk about. Yes, we're going to talk about Logan Paul going into the WWE. We're going to be talking about Chris Brown and why he doesn't post more. What's more important, being at the highest or being respected? Okay. We're going to be talking about Faze Clan and their $1 billion self, right? More conversations, high-level conversations with 19 Keys and more. Moose, how are we feeling about this episode?
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. There's a lot of good gems. There's like almost like a new era that we're introducing on this clip, or this episode, I should say, from both the branding and business standpoint. Big money too, like big new money. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Let's get into this intro.
2 kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And shout out to all our audio listeners, all our video viewers, new and old. We appreciate you. And of course, this is brought to you by Ecamm Live, the #1 all-in-one live production software that Nicky and Moose is only ran on. Like, you see the videos, you see the clips, you hear the audio. That's all done through Ecamm Live, the YouTube Live that we do. It's all through there. So if you want to be a part of Ecamm Live, www.nickyandmoose.com/Ecamm, ECAMM, for your 14-day free trial. You feel me?
Yeah.
But let's start it off. Moose, how are you feeling?
Man, feeling excellent. It's been a really great week, very productive, a lot of good energy. Funny story, I went to the doctor late last week, and I found out that I'm allergic to the craziest things. You wouldn't believe them. I'll give you $1 if you can guess one of them.
Why would I know? What?
I don't know.
You already owe me a quarter. You already owe me a quarter,
but I was about to give you $1.25, like kind of, you know what I'm saying? To get you.
All right.
Crazy.
Something you eat or something you wear?
Drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sprite.
Coffee.
No! God, please, no! No!
What?
I know.
No, you drink coffee?
Bro, I drink coffee every single day, sometimes twice a day. I drink coffee more than I drink water. No, but she said something deep. Here's this. I'll just say this real quick because we got some work to do on the podcast. Y'all gonna be excited for this. She said, just because you don't see any like physical issues with your skin when you drink them doesn't mean that your body internally isn't going through it. I was like, man, that's pretty powerful.
So you're dying inside?
Kind of, yeah. Well, I've been off of coffee for a week now, and I started, changing up the game a little bit, and I feel fantastic. So, Hey, go see your doctors, y'all. Hey, you just never know, man. I'm telling you, I drink coffee more than I drink water. I love coffee. It's so, like, I don't need coffee, but I love it. It's nostalgic to me. It just makes me feel good. And that's true. That's true. Not like I don't need it or nothing. Like, I'm good.
I get off of it anytime.
Yeah.
See,
I've
I've been off of it. The fact that you said you've been off of it for a week shows signs of addiction. Because that's...
Really? Damn. They caught me, y'all. They caught me. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, go check them allergies, y'all. It's crazy. The craziest things I'm apparently allergic to. But yeah, things are well though. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Wow. I'm not allergic to coffee. You know what I mean?
Hey, blessed.
I'm not that.
Blessed.
I don't even drink coffee. So
You're a hot chocolate gal though.
We can chill together more now because I don't drink coffee at all.
That's true. That's very true.
I don't do that. It stunts your growth, and I'm still short. That's what my mom always told me.
Is
that
so?
Grew.
Maybe that's why I haven't gotten taller lately. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you grew. I did not. Okay.
I
did not grow. And my grandma's short, my mom's short, and they all drink coffee. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna beat this curse. No, I'm still short. It's all good. But I'm Gucci. I've been really excited about this whole little 90-minute sprint situation.
I see you. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, I saw something on TikTok that's literally like, do a 90-minute sprint to increase your productivity. So what it is for 90 minutes, you already have your task list and everything like that. For 90 minutes, you turn off all your notifications, no distractions, and you just go in on the things that you have to do for 90 minutes. And then you have a 30 to 45 minute break. And then you could do another 90-minute sprint in a different location just to change scenery, get your mind right. And you do about like 2 or 3 of those a day and see how your productivity increases. And I did that like 2-3 days now. And when I tell you, they're like all check marks on my task list, everything and more. I was like, oh, I made the whole like on my phone, that little focus joint. Shout out to Apple for allowing that. Because I didn't know, even when you put do not disturb, there's some things that could still happen and certain people that could still call. I erased everybody. No one could call, text me. If there's an emergency, oh well. You know what I mean? Like 90 minutes I'm locked in, and that thing is fuego. So if y'all haven't tried that 90-minute sprint, y'all should do that. All right?
Yeah, that's dope.
But let's get into this episode. So, Moose sent me something, and I saw this actually a few weeks ago. Wallstreet Trapper, who we go and speak on a little bit later, actually posted this on his Instagram as well. But Moose sent me this on Warren Buffett set yet another record. One fan paid $19 million to have lunch with the billionaire at the famous Smith and, how you say that?
Wolanski's.
Yep. In New York City. The proceeds from the bid will benefit San Francisco's Glide Foundation. So, first off, shout out to the person who's just chilling with 19 mil.
Come on. For lunch.
Right.
For lunch.
That's an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
That's it.
Imagine when you could call 19 million lunch money. Literally. Like literally. That's hilarious, yo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little lunch money, a little pocket change, 19 mil. You know, no big deal. Really cool. But I did want to say this, right? I actually thought it was interesting because for those who are listening, don't miss the lesson here, right? There's actually a lesson tied to this. We'll talk to it really quick. One of the things I learned from Grant Cardone in one of his books, right? He talks about for people who didn't grow up with money, one of the easiest things that you could learn to get comfortable with numbers is to subtract zeros from big numbers until you get to a place that you're comfortable with, right? So for those of you who are listening, and for most people, you probably can't afford $19 million for a lunch, I still want you to go through the practice or the exercise and think about, man, what is a number that I'm comfortable with that I would pay somebody to sit down and do lunch with, and who's that person? So if you can't afford 19 million, can you do 1.9 million? Can you do 190,000? That's still a lot of money.
Would it be comfortable? I don't know if 19 mil was maybe comfortable for that person. That person probably had it, but not necessarily comfortable, because I'm thinking those people who pay for the mentorships and the coaching and everything, and it kind of stretches them, but it forces them to flip that information.
No, for sure. I mean, at their level, I think they're not even paying for information or anything. They're paying for the relationship. I think the opportunity to sit one-on-one with Buffett and possibly strike up a business deal, that 19 million can be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars down the line, right? So I do believe that. But I'm just saying for us as listeners, I do like the concept of being able to pull some zeros back, get to a number that you're comfortable with. Heck, it could be $190. You might be like, yo, $190 for lunch, that's still a pretty darn skippy kind of lunch.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, for those of you out there who are listening, what's a number that you're comfortable with? Keep pulling some zeros back from 19 million till you get to a number that you're comfortable with. And just real quick, ask yourself, like, yo, how much am I willing to pay, and who would I sit down with? I got my person. Nicky, I want to ask you as well, right? So I actually said a few people, but I'm going to go with this one first. Of course, I'm not going to tell you to guess. I do that to you a lot. I don't want to make you guess wrong again. Mav Carter. Yeah.
I make you guess wrong all the time. So I'm not gonna do it no more.
I'm not just gonna do you like that. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do you like that. It's like, but no, Mav Carter, man. I actually think Mav Carter is someone who I would like to sit down and do lunch with. Maybe for like 1,900, maybe. That's a big lunch, $1,900. Little 1 hour lunch with Mav Carter. I said a couple names. I actually said Mav Carter, A-Rod. Who else? That's all it for now. That's all I got for now. But yeah, I would like to chop it up with them for lunch.
I would. Okay, two names come in mind. One you could probably guess. One you could probably guess. One you can't.
Wait, is the first one dead or alive? That's all you gotta tell me, and I know exactly who it is.
So, okay, I didn't pick dead because.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I didn't pick dead.
It's easy.
Because
it's easy.
Yeah. Okay.
Kanye.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But there's one more that I know you will never guess. Come on. Okay, now I want you to guess and get it wrong. Come on.
It's like, why don't you get this wrong now?
Right.
Give me a clue, like something. Are they
filmmaker?
What? Filmmaker? No, I have no clue. Oh, Tyler Perry.
No.
Oh.
No offense, Tyler.
Yeah.
Like, if you see my face. No.
It's like, nah, I don't want to see with Tyler Perry.
I was like, no, absolutely not. Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard you talk about him.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's cool.
But more for understanding such from like back then, the importance of storytelling and like the success of some of his, best work. What was his thought process of it and things like that. Because I think if you could break that down, everything else in this day and age is super easy. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, I would put some bucks around there. I would do that.
A little cheddar for lunch. Yeah.
I'll do that, right? But it'll probably be a quick conversation. Me, I get straight to the point. It is not more like I'm here for a specific reason. Like, love to have the relationship, but more, I need my questions asked so I can flip it, so I can make this money back. Because, you're not cheap, sir. You're not.
Right.
Is what it is. But, I think, and for the people who are listening or watching, let us know who you would love to have lunch with and that you would put some money up for, whatever your price is or whatever. But who would you be like, this is a little stretch.
Right.
But I would love to just sit down and And if you want to say Warren Buffett too, cool. If you want to do the typical one, I know Jay-Z was a trending one before, like
Right.
this amount of money or the lunch, and certain people were like, nah, I'm gonna take the money.
Mm.
I remember that. Certain people were just like, yeah, I'm gonna take the money. So it is what it is. But let us know. So this next one is pretty interesting, but I'm not very shocked. Let's just put it this way. Logan Paul has made recent news of signing with WWE. For those who don't know what WWE is, for the old school people of WWF, right? He is getting into wrestling. So we already knew that Logan dipped his toe with boxing and fought the best boxer alive to some, which is Floyd Mayweather. And he did make a debut, I believe, in like WrestleMania, one of those big events. And now he signed with WWE. The amount of money that he's making was not disclosed, but we already know there was a bag. We already
There's
know
some big money involved.
Yeah, we already know that, right? Now, my question before I played a clip that actually intrigued me, right? But does this mean that boxing is just going to be left for his brother? Or is he going to dibble and dabble? Because I feel that with this, Logan is trying to be just the overall entertainer, right? Anything I could do, but I'm athletic, so I think this platform would make the most sense of me showing my personality, plus showing how athletic I am. I think it's a good look, but what do you think?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, he probably just didn't want to do anything with boxing anymore because and he never really, I don't know that he fought anyone of course, he fought Floyd Mayweather, but before that, I think he fought KSI, which was another YouTuber. So I don't know that it was like a run to do professional boxing, but it was like, hey, let's do it for entertainment. I'm going to fight KSI, who's another YouTuber. Oh, what's the next big thing? Oh, fight one of the best boxers alive, Floyd Mayweather. And then it's like, yeah, so I'm with you on that. I think it's going the entertainment route definitely probably is a good fit for his brand too.
Yeah, so I found a clip that may explain why this is a good fit for actually both parties, for Logan as well as WWE.
I don't have a WWE fan base, and I think that's why they like me here is I'm able to, I believe part of my value comes in bridging the gap between like mainstream and this WWE world, and I can kind of do this a little bit. And
I agree with that.
That's huge.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good look from a WWE standpoint because it's like, all right, they have loyal, diehard fans.
Fan base.
Like, I know 50 and 60-year-olds who still watch wrestling. Like, I'm like, okay, that I left
the
that
Rock
world
was still
a
a
long
wrestler.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I left that world a long time ago. But there are people who still watch. There's new people that watch it clearly, right? And I think this is going to be a good look for because he has 23 million subscribers on his YouTube channel alone. That's not including all the followings he have on other social media platforms, but he has a huge following base. If we're trying to gain more people, especially of his generation, yeah, and he already likes it. Boom, why don't we give him a contract? And then of course, like I said earlier, where Logan is athletic, a whole personality. Boxing didn't necessarily allow him to show his personality, right? It didn't. You can't create a storyline per se in boxing. You can have it kind of in the, the pre-shows or the warm-ups of up to the fight where you have to create who's the good guy, bad guy kind of vibe. But WWE is all about storyline. It's all about that. Now, for some people, is it real? Is it fake? I don't know. I don't necessarily care. I'm just being honest. It's entertainment, right? But once again, this is also a good look because I remember I read somewhere that WWE was having like a whole bunch of layoffs from wrestlers. I don't know if you read that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there was a whole like a whole layoff situation. So maybe it was making room for new people. Who's to say that WWE won't pull the same thing as, let's say, record labels where they find the top social media people or athletes and things like that, and let's make them into stars. So I think this is a good look for both parties. And of course, we already know he's not moving without a bag. So there has to be some interest with that.
Some big money involved.
Oh,
yeah. No, I mean, two lessons here, and I speak to this often. I always talk about the importance of brands and businesses making moves to make sure that they extend the lifeline of their business, right? Every business can only stay alive but so long. So when you do things to introduce a younger audience to your product, your service, your brand, your business, what you're doing is you're literally extending the lifeline of your business, because now younger people are going to be attracted to what you do and they're going to bring it up for a couple more years and maybe pass it down to the next generation. So that is super important. If you have a fan base, a following, a customer base, a business, a brand that is serving 50, 60, 70-year-olds, nothing to them. That's like my mom's generation, let's just say that. Well, the opportunity for them to continue buying and consuming within your ecosystem is very limited. But once my mom passes it on to me and I pass it on to another younger generation, let's say a group of people that I mentor at a high school, well, guess what? Then I just brought another maybe 20, 30 years of bandwidth for that business. So I always say that. I know sometimes it can be intimidating when we look at the next generation. Every generation goes with this. Oh, I don't like their music choice. Oh, these people are a little bit different. Oh, this next generation is this. But they're usually more talented. Every generation gets better no matter what we say. I'm sure, there are some people who are looking at our generation like, man, these knuckleheads are not going to amount to nothing. Well, guess what? We're kind of doing pretty good for ourselves. Same thing with the next generation. They're doing phenomenal as well. So if you're a business or a brand on the sidelines, like wondering how can I bring more eyes to what I'm doing, consider bringing some younger people into your organization and what you're doing, a part of the mix. The other thing is, and I would be interested to see this happen, the WWE has done a phenomenal job of turning their wrestlers into movie stars, and I think that's where he's headed too. I look at The Rock, John Cena, a few others who've made appearances from wrestling into movies, and that'd be interesting. I could see that like in his makeup or somewhere in his future. That I wouldn't be surprised.
I could see that happen. I don't know if he needed WWE to do that, but I definitely could see that.
Because it's television. Like, I mean, I'm not saying YouTube stars don't get TV deals. There's some who do, but it's not as consistent when you're working with TV. I think their production is still top notch, and they stream you to a little bit more, more people that, I don't know what they did. I'm just saying, this is kind of like my kind of guesstimated opinion. I'm like, man, what if that translates into some form of movie stuff, which would be cool, especially if he's in it for the entertainment.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. So this next clip, I'm actually excited about. Okay, the topic goes more on: do we push our brand more, or do we push being a pioneer of the industry more? Right. So once again, I swear we say this every week. Shout out to EYL for having some of the best interviews in the game. they were talking to one of the members, members of Faze Clan. Uh, for those who don't know who Faze Clan is a pretty much a gaming team that is literally killing that industry and is worth $1 billion. And they make money from competitions to sponsorships to Twitch subscriptions to merchandise to digital, like crazy. And the members, the actual gamers, there's people who make like up to $1 million just doing that, right? And in this interview, there was a really dope bar about, you know, pushing the industry more than pushing your brand. So let me play it.
I'm thinking about pushing gaming. I'm not thinking about pushing Faze Clan. And when you're in an emerging industry and you're a bleeding edge company, that's, I think, the way you should think. You need to transcend your own business, as far as thought process goes, transcend your own brand and franchise, and think about how can I push this space, right? So, and there's certain moves that when we make those moves, that a lot of our quote unquote competitors, they make more money. You know what I mean? Because we're unlocking and kicking down certain doors, and those are the moves I love to make.
Man, that's good. That's good. It's like literally saying, which is actually, there's a lot of truth in that. Your brand can only grow as big as the industry that it's in, right? And in a lot of cases, when you think about that, the more that your industry market cap grows, and think about this from a financial standpoint, the more dollars you have to potentially eat up from that market cap, right? I think about, for example, the metaverse. Well, the big number that's roaming in the metaverse right now is $5 trillion. If it can get up to mass adoption or to its potential in the next few years, it can get up to $5 trillion. Well, if you're a brand that's operating heavy in that ecosystem, then whatever percentage you take up of the market cap is the money that you take home, right? So certainly if you're in let's say another market cap, I don't know, something like, and they say this a lot more so with sport teams when they think about how much they're gonna pay certain players, if they're in a small market that doesn't have a large, say, TV viewing or fan base, they know that person's career earnings are likely to be less just because the team doesn't expose them to a wider audience. So their brand can only grow so much. So what do some players do? Some players choose to get traded to big markets so that they can get more eyes on their brands, especially if you're not a star player like a LeBron James or a Steph Curry, that people are looking for you from every market. But if you're someone who's up and coming and you play for, I'm not too familiar with basketball, but if you play for like a very small market or a fan base, then the chances of you actually making a name for yourself are going to be slim to none. But if you get traded to a LA, a Knicks, or somewhere in New York, Miami, those bigger fan bases, you get more eyes on you. Well, that's literally translating into this saying here that as the market cap grows, that grows. The other thing too, I think it's actually super respectable, because if you're truly passionate about it, then you gotta want the mission of what you're a part of to supersede even yourself. So it reminds me of something that Elon Musk said, where he talks about, I don't care to be the first person or the one to build the best electric car. I just care that we as society take on or are more open to the idea of electric vehicles, because it's going to literally help our ecosystem. So he's like, even if I don't do it, like let's just say I get it 60% of the way there, and then Ford or some of these other companies jump on and take it the rest of the way, and they get everyone to adopt them. Well, I'm still happy even if I didn't do it. So I think there's a level of respect to say that, to say, yo, I'm willing to be a pioneer for the industry, not just my brand or my company. I'm willing to be a pioneer to get it so much eyes and so much attention that even if I'm not the person to get it there, at least I contribute to the actual completion of the mission. So that's really dope. I like that thought process.
Yeah, I think it goes towards, are you a selfish brand or selfless brand? Yeah. So there's there's nothing. So here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with wanting to be on top, wanting to be the number one in the industry. But if we're not paving the way for others to do it better than us, or others to have it a bit easier than us, then we're just here for self, right? And I love what Faze Clan is doing as far as like, yo, it is about the gaming industry, period, right?
Mhm.
It's not about Faze Clan being the in front of everything. When you hear gaming, you have to see Faze Clan. It's not about that per se, even though I didn't necessarily really understand how big gaming was until maybe a couple of years ago, right? And
Yeah.
all I kept hearing was Faze Clan, and I was like, I don't even know what. I remember, I don't know if it was this year or last year, Snoop Dogg signed to Faze Clan. More sports people, I think even LeBron's son, Bronny's on Faze Clan. Like,
Mhm.
it's being more common. You keep hearing about it, and it's like, okay, they're clearly a strong hold in gaming. But to say, yo, what we're doing is putting gaming on our back. And by doing that, some of our competitors are going to see our gaps and make way more money because we've done it this way. They clearly see an easier way of doing it, and they're going to go that way. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, what you can't say, you name gaming, you still have to say our name. And so I look at that with just building a brand and building a business. Like, are we just here for self and just wanting to make the most money and wanting to be known as just the top person the whole time, right? Or the top business the whole time? Or are we trying to really, when they say the name of the industry, not just that niche, not just, this part of it, when they say the industry, they have to say your name, and that's going to come with a lot of bumps and bruises. That's going to come with a lot of highs and lows. And when you think such big picture, like sky's the limit, and you are almost known more for being the OG. And I'm glad that I said Snoop. Like, Snoop is one of the most famous people ever. Like,
Mhm.
grandmas and babies know of Snoop Dogg, right? He's one of the pioneers, right, of that particular era, right? Run DMC, when we're talking about hip hop, one of the pioneers. Have there been people on both cases who's made more than Snoop, that made more than Run DMC? Absolutely. Has done things a little bit better? Absolutely. But when we speak of certain genres, certain industries, we have to bring up people's names. And when we're talking about hip hop, we can bring up Snoop for being one of the most famous. We could bring up Run DMC for being the pioneer, right? When we think of acting, Denzel,
Right.
hands down, one of them. And there's more. As comedians, you're thinking of Eddie Murphy. Like, you want to create a brand, but put the industry and that new form of innovation on your back, and push that more than pushing yourself, because it's going to have a bigger impact later down the line, instead of just like, okay, I was hot for this amount of time, or from this era and this era I was on the charts, or I was the number one entrepreneur, or I was on Forbes, and great. And then what? And then what? And just
Yeah.
so I'm all for pushing an industry.
Yeah, it's major.
But we're going to talk more about Faze Clan on the after show. So if you are not part of the after show, make sure you join on Apple Podcasts on the All Access Squad. Little plug. But okay, I may make it audible because of something I said, but I won't. You saw where I was going with that. You saw where I was going with that. But
I did.
I won't. Let's talk about somebody who doesn't speak. All right. Let's talk about somebody who doesn't speak, who has about 145 million followers on TikTok. Okay. Brand deals out of the wazoo, right? And this individual's name is Khaby. Khaby Lame. Look! I already put his first name wrong. Khaby Lame.
There it is.
Some people say lame, and I just didn't feel like that was right. I'm not calling him that. Okay.
I respect you as a New Yorker. Yeah.
Khaby Lame. Okay. For those who don't know who he is, he literally reacts to some suspect life hacks that the internet has had and has just blown up like in the past 2 years. Like 2-3 years ago, he was like a waiter. He didn't have anything.
Wow.
Right? And so I was watching this video from Nas Daily that covered him, and there was such a lesson in this particular clip that we had to go over. So let's look at Khaby.
In 1 month, I got 9 views and 2 subscribers.
2 subscribers?
Yes, sir.
But he didn't care. He continued to make videos. He did not talk, so everyone understood. He was funny, so everyone laughed. And he was simple, so everyone shared.
I don't know if people caught that and how simple it was. Like, first, let's talk about the journey. You hear the end result, which is 145 at the moment that this is being recorded, 145 million followers on TikTok. He got crowned the the most followed person on TikTok.
TikToker, yeah.
Yep, the most followed. But if you heard in that clip, he had like 2 subscribers. He had 9 views. And the only thing he wanted to do was make people laugh.
That's crazy.
And he had that purpose, and he kept going and going and going. And that's what people are not getting, where it's like, okay, that beginning part for everybody is going to be very discouraging, and it's going to really weave out who's really here for this and who's really not. Like, some people are starting brands and businesses because they see everybody doing it, and they see that, okay, I don't got to listen to people. Like, I don't have to listen to my boss no more. I don't want to be told what to do. You know what? I'm going to start my own stuff. I'm seeing everybody successful on social media. I'm going to do this. And you're not understanding those first couple of months, years are going to suck.
That's real.
You're going to not make money. I'm not going to say you're broke, because maybe you make money somewhere else. You're not going to make money right away sometimes. You're not going to have the views, the follows. You're not going to have the impact that you expect just because you stayed consistent for 4 weeks straight. You know, it's refreshing to see like his positive attitude, even when he spoke about, y'all had like 2 views and like 2 subscribers. That was it, right?
Yeah.
It was very refreshing to see. But then how his content is, for those who don't know, like literally, he just does reactions and he does facial expressions, and that's it. He says absolutely nothing. He actually speaks a whole different language. We heard him speak English, but he speaks a whole different language. And understanding, I want to make everybody happy. That's global. Maybe I don't have to speak because that's already going to limit my audience. So what can I do that is going to make it of a more of a global impact that is going to be very simple and shareable, right? Like, what? That's that's mind blowing for me because I didn't even think about that. Like, okay, if I'm trying to create a global brand, how can I communicate with every single person, no matter what language, culture you are? You're going to understand me. This man said, I'm not going to say anything at all. Absolutely nothing at all. I'm just going to react to whatever video I could react to that makes sense. Like, so he could have been watching a Chinese video. He could be watching a Portuguese video. He could be watching a Nigerian video, and he could have reacted and it would have gotten the same impact because it's for everybody. Yeah. And I'm like, we are not thinking this simple. We're thinking complex, and hence why we're limiting ourselves to what we're being exposed to or who our audience is already, because we overcomplicate and overthink everything, and things can be just that simple to blow up. It took him 2 years to blow up.
It's crazy.
He said nothing.
That's crazy. 2 years and 145 million followers. That's crazy. All right, that's crazy. That's what we said it last week, y'all. Listen, 2-3 years in this era is all. If you can really hit your mark, find your stride, 2-3 years is all you need. Sky is the absolute limit. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you've been through. It doesn't matter what you've been through. If you could find your stride and just lock in 2 to 3 years, you will look up and be like, where am I? This is crazy. My guy is just that's all I remember from his videos. This right here, this move right here, like, it's that easy, right? So, I love what you said, though. It is brilliant to say, if I want to talk to this many people, whether it was intentional, if that was his thought process or not, or the stars just lined up for him, whatever it is, when you think about it, the number of cultures, every label that he's broken by not speaking. And this is a good lesson for those of us who think that the only way for me to be successful and get sales is I got to be a speaker, I got to be a good wordsmith, or I got to be talking all this deep stuff online. That's not necessarily true. My guy has gotten all of this not having said pretty much anything. Mm-hmm. But I also think about it in the way that he's also opened up his market or his the content that he can use, because he doesn't care what you're speaking, right? Like, he's just looking for those life hacks, like we mentioned. So it doesn't matter what language you speak. It's like, imagine us doing the show and using clips from all 100 plus languages that exist out in the world. Finding clips is not going to be an issue at all. So I think that's another thing that happened. It's like, it doesn't matter what you speak. So I love that. And it's like, it's 4 takeaways that you could take from this. Don't give up. Mm-hmm. Don't give up. Because the 2 subscribers, 9 views in 2 years translated to 145 million. That's crazy. Don't give up. Like, I know it's so cliche. I don't even want to say it, but don't give up. It's like, man, imagine. I always think, like, imagine if you would have stopped early. Imagine if you're doing the right thing, but you just stopped early. Oh man.
Crazy.
Oh man. Don't give up. Don't give up. And speak in a way that people could understand. Whatever that means for you. I mean, maybe we're not going to be literal with okay, let's just point, so that way we can talk to so many different cultures. But in the way that you are speaking to your audience and your customers and your following right now, can you do a better job of making sure they understand what you're saying? Right. We can all get better at that. So this is a phenomenal clip. I'm excited to make some content off of this. That's crazy.
Shout out to Khaby. And stop making fun of me saying names wrong. I just want to put that out there. I always say it wrong. It happens. Leave me alone.
It's part of the show. It's part of the show.
I mean, but let's get into this next clip. Part of the EYL network. I'm almost about to say they need to put us, because as much as we talk about it. But that's not the conversation. Part of the EYL network. Shout out to 19 Keys and Wallstreet Trapper. They had high-level conversations this past weekend, depending on when you watch this or hear this. And Wallstreet Trapper said something really dope on that episode about decision making that instantly I thought about, this could apply for why people purchase your product or service, why people watch your content, why people engage with your stuff. And it comes with 3 tips. So get your pen and your pad, because this is going to help your brand completely.
How you show them that what you teaching them gonna better their life? Ego, visualization, and emotion. Those are 3 principles that help people make a decision. Egoism is, what does this do for me? How does it benefit me? Can you show me that? Okay, you can't, cool. Visualization, can you take me to a place that shows me visually that what you've done work, or emotionally, can you get that out me to cause an emotion that allows me to take an action?
Man, I like that. That's so simple. And this goes to show you how much thought goes into getting people to believe in what you're teaching them so that they can be successful. I think this is especially for people who utilize trainings, teachings. You have students that enroll into your programs or whatnot, and you're wondering, well, why are they not getting the type of success that they have? Or how can I get them to experience more success? Or how can I get them to better believe in this? You might be doing something that you know works. It's worked for you. You believe in it. It's a proven concept, a proven model, but you're having trouble duplicating that in them, or getting them to realize that that too can happen for them. You gotta realize, and I always talk about the idea of humans being the most selfish beings on the planet, or the most selfish in general, because we treat everyone like we are. So I automatically assume that if this is how I got it, then this is exactly how you need to get it. Well, the reason why I may have found benefit from something may be different than how you may find benefit from it. I may benefit from it financially. Maybe you don't care about money like that. Like Nicky's not someone who's necessarily going to move on money. Ever. That's not necessarily her interest. So if I'm trying to persuade Nicky on why this will work for her, and I'm using money as the only shiny object or the only valuable outcome from it, she's not going to be interested. Well, why is that? Because I'm trying to use what has convinced me to try and convince her with it. So be mindful of that not everyone is going to respond to the things that you care about. Got to really pay attention to the minor details of what makes other people really tick, or makes them want to give more or try harder, whatever those things may be. So I like those 3. They're super linear, very simple, because you can't force your answers into every one of those lines or every one of those principles. You have to almost put them out there and think about the people that you're working with and say, I wonder what their answers are to this question, so that I can be more intentional on delivering that to them, or showing them how those desires can get fulfilled through what I'm doing here. So yeah, phenomenal. Shout out to Trap for that.
So let's break down the 3, right? So from a business standpoint, ego, right? How would that translate in your world?
Yeah, well, based on what he said, he's saying it's showing people that clearly what's in it for them, right? Like, how do they benefit? How do they get better? Am I getting better financially? Am I able to save more time, effort, and energy based on my involvement or my learning of what you're teaching? Am I going to be able to pass this on, right? Maybe it's not necessarily for me, but it's for other generations, family members, futures. Am I gaining health So one of the things that I would think about here is think about what people care about, or even think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Those 7 needs. That's the most simplest way. And if you think about those, you're gonna, for the most part, cover one of the drivers that people care about or they're moved by. They wanna see one of those things, whichever is highest for them. And if you can figure that out, then immediately, and you can speak to it. So not only figure it out, but you can figure it out and speak to it. That's how you're gonna get people to pay attention to it. The ones that I often go to is, how can I make someone more money? How can I save them, make them or save them money and time as well? I think those are the easiest. For most people, they're pretty cool with that. Like, yo, if you're gonna give me something that can be convenient so I save time, or something that allows me to make more money so it pays for itself, then that's a no-brainer.
And I'll talk about it from a branding and like content standpoint, from an ego standpoint, like your content, or whatever you're selling to of your brand, it's like, why do I care? Like, why do I care about this? And in the first couple of seconds that they see your stuff, it has to be, what is it in for me? Mm-hmm. Not no storyline, not anything else. What is it in there for me that I care about? And if you get that right, now you got their attention, right? So then it comes to the other 2 stops, which is one of them is visualization. So from your world, what would visualization be like?
Yeah, I think it's showing them what's possible. A lot of times people will use the history of their lives to almost use that as proof of what their future will look like. A lot of people, while they may want different, they just don't believe that it's literally possible for them. So you have to be an example of what this transformation or outcome that you're promising, what that actually looks like. So of course, you got to be a walking example of that. You should be able to show others that. And sometimes you may need to create some form of destination trip. I've talked about this with some of our community members, where I said I took clients literally on an excursion to show them the experience, to take them through the lessons and the thought process that I needed them to embody in their work. So I couldn't necessarily go in their workplace and show them, okay, here's how it's got to work, because I don't know nothing about how they do their work. But I can take them somewhere almost neutral that gets their mind, and then they can go home and be like, yeah, this was like a Mr. Miyagi trick. Like, it literally created this, wipe on, wipe off type thing for me. So yeah, I think you got to be able to get people out of their current moment or out of their past and literally create a new future for them.
Yeah. And from a branding standpoint, we got to see what the transformation is. Whatever your point is, and we already got from the ego standpoint of what is it for me in this, but then how do I see myself after dealing with you? Well, how do I see myself with what you're offering? Like, what is the huge transformation, and can I see myself doing this? And the easier you break that down visually, that we can see, whether from male, female, non-binary, from cultural situation, from where location, money, tax bracket, all that. Yeah. If I could see me in this content and I could clearly see the transformation, and I know you're speaking to me, it makes all the kind of sense to me. Now, last one was emotion. What would you say about that?
Yeah, so off the bat, people don't really sustain. They may start, but they're rarely going to sustain something that doesn't trigger them emotionally, that they don't feel some form of connection to. So I don't know that I don't believe that you can make people care unless you're introducing them to something that they didn't know about. But that's something you got to help them find. So it's not something you give to them. You got to help them find. You got to think about, what do you need to share? What do you need to almost remove or uncover or help them to discover, so that they can find something within that maybe they just kind of put a lot of dirt over and moved on because life forced them to. So lastly, that's that emotional connection is what's going to help someone stay consistent. We know that there's nothing on earth that can happen overnight, that magic pill or any of those things, they don't exist. But for everything to work, what they need to work, right? Or the involvement, they have some things that they have to follow through with as well. But for that to happen, there's got to be an emotional connection. So I think brands and businesses need to be intentional, specifically from a business standpoint too, at least from my end. You gotta remove barriers out of their way so that they can discover something that they may have overlooked, where they could be like, oh shoot, I care about this in a way, or I now see this in a way that makes me care about it in ways that I've never cared before. I gotta take it seriously, more seriously this time. And that's what actually helps to follow through and is connected to the other 2 points as well.
Yeah, and this actually made me, shout out to B Simone, random. She made me, she recommended this book, The Untethered Soul, right?
Great book.
Started listening to it, right? Really good. But they were speaking about like how all our senses, if a movie could figure out how to engage all our senses, oh, it's a wrap. Like whatever the movie would say, we would have to do, right? So when I think about these 3 words, like the ego, the visualization, the emotion, right? We hear it, we see it, and then we feel it, right? We just don't have taste, right? We don't have that. But to have those 3 senses like taken over based off our brand and our content and products and services, like it moves us in certain ways. So if we feel some kind of purpose with this particular brand, with this particular content, oh, I'm for it. If I feel happy, if I feel maybe anger to the point where I need to make a change, like what this is literally saying from a decision making standpoint is I'm trying to attack your senses in order to make this decision. And if we could think from a branding standpoint of how do I trigger people's senses and direct them into the way that I need to, it's game over. I can get my audience to do whatever because I'm getting their sound, I'm getting their feelings, I'm getting what they're seeing. If I can figure out taste, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
If I can figure that out, like, oh, bet. But can we at least lock down these 3 senses for our audience to move the way we want them to move? So I thought what Trap said was spot on, and how he was speaking on it was in one way, but how I received it was, oh, this is going to be a game changer for people who are building their empires with their brand. Because if you can master the decision making in that standpoint, you won't struggle.
Can't
You
be
won't
stopped.
struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be stopped. Oh, that's real.
So, shout out to 19 Keys and Wall Street Trapper. Now we're gonna go over on this episode because we got 2 more clips. Yeah, we're going. So, you're here first. You're here for the long ride with this one. So, next clip is going to be from none other female songwriter Hall of Fame, the first female to receive the Michael Jackson Music Video Vanguard Award. Okay, none other than Virginia's own Missy Elliot. And first off, just a legend. But I was watching some of her interviews. First off, it was her birthday this past week, or depending on when you hear this or watch this, it was her birthday recently, And I'm like, yo, we never really covered Missy, right? We
We
never
didn't show her love.
Yeah, and Missy, like, I used to love her music videos. Like, her sound with Tim was just so unique. And in one of her interviews with Sway, she spoke about, you know, like, what's more important, being on top or being respected, right? We always want to be, of course, when we hit the top, it's like a drug. Like, how do we stay there, right? But she says something different, and so let's go over it.
That's one of the things I think, because people think that you're gonna be hot forever.
Yeah.
You won't be hot forever. You may always get respect.
Yeah.
If you done right. But you won't be hot forever. I don't care. At 80, you might not have no joint on the charts.
Yeah.
But when you walk in that room at 80, if you do right, then people will always respect you.
So I almost aim for the respect more than being on top. You know what I mean? I think
100%.
that's how I'm moving lately. With my own personal brand. I love that even if I don't get to the top of the game, I'm like some famous people favorite person on Instagram right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm highly respected in some of the rooms that I go to, and my name is being said in places I didn't think I was going to be.
That's powerful.
So I totally agree with this, where it's like you want to work on being respected. Once you're on top, it can only go down at some point. You may have a amazing run. You know, you can have an amazing run, but there's still going to be somebody who needs to take that spot. Right? Whether it's for innovation purposes, whether it is just a timing purpose, you know, there's going to be that. So it goes back to the whole pioneer situation. Like, okay, I'm no longer on top, but I'm very respected in this game. Like, you could still mention my name and it still brings warm and fuzzy, or like, yo, I remember this time. Like, oh, like, and the respect carries way longer than possibly you're on the top of whoever charts or top of the game, most followers, this, that, and the third. Because even like with Khaby, he passed somebody. That person, I think it was Charlie, right?
Okay.
She was on top for a while, but somebody's gonna pass her. And so now it's more of, what have I done in the game that allows me to still be very respected and keep these relationships? Because the relationships is what's going to keep me on top.
Right.
It's not necessarily my work per se, or like my manual work or what got me here. It's really, what have I done for the culture, the industry, the people involved? Like, what am I really, once I'm on top, how do I stay in people's mouths? How do I continuously be on the top of mind? And I would say being respected. And that's my goal in the whole thing. I run off respect. You may not, there may be other people in front of me, and I'm cool with that. Let them be in front of me. I'm some of y'all favorite famous people content creator. I promise you, I'm like the best kept secret to some of your favorite content creators, some of your favorite celebrities, and I'm cool with that.
Yes, no, 100%. Truth is, I think there's a difference between the two. It's like when you're on top, people respect you because they have to. It's like you're number one.
Right.
when you're respected, people respect you because they want to. It's because you've earned their respect. They like you. They know that you're someone who operates out of integrity and you have good character. So they respect you because they want you. They're going to look out for you. They're going to want to create opportunities for you. They might defend you when you're not in those rooms. We've talked about this in the past, right? So there's a difference when you're on top and you're getting the attention and the respect. It's because they have to. You can't, if you're not a whatever type of fan, but they just won the championship, you're going to show them respect because, well, heck, they just won the championship. They just proved that they're the best this year. But you may not always respect them. So, yeah, I think there's a huge difference. But I love that. This idea of us competing, I think it's going to wear out more and more, especially as more people realize that the only reason why you're not where you want to be or you're not where they may be, it's because of you anyway. So they didn't do nothing to you. Like whoever this other person, this other number one is that you feel like you have to compete against or tear them down, it's not because of them that you are where you are. It's because of you that you are where you are. So I think as more people begin to realize that, the more that people are going to get away from competition. And I'm not saying, oh, you got to collaborate over competition. I'm not saying that. The context of what I'm saying specific to this is us operating in a way that we value our self-respect more than being on top, because of the number one spot only brings you respect. It's almost a forced respect. It's not true, genuine respect. So there's a difference between the two for sure.
I like that. In our next clip, we have to talk about Chris Brown himself. He's on his 10th people, studio album. He's been pretty much on the low for past 2 years, and dropped his 10th album, Breezy. And the question that even I had at one point was like, yo, why isn't Chris Brown showing more on social media? You almost kind of expect certain influencers, celebrities to be like, yo, stay active. Like, we need to know about you. You've been gone for like 2 years. What's up? And he's been active recently with interviews just because his album's dropping and you see more of his house. Have you seen it? It's like the artwork is
it's
crazy, right? But he was recently on Big Boy and he explained why he's not really showing up on social media. So let's go over that.
And I can tell my fans this now. Like the reason for that, and I'm sorry you guys, but like I want y'all to remember why y'all love me. You know what I'm saying? This music and why I create and the songs that we do and the videos, the magic that I'm trying to bring that back. I feel like if I talk about what I ate in this morning or hey, I'm driving in this car, it's not cohesive. It's not gonna be healthy. So the music that I create is the food that I want to, surplus the world with.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know me. I'm always gonna favor.
That's why I brought it up. I was like,
I'm always.
I was like, yeah, don't post at all. Don't. You don't even have to. I'm so for it.
Yeah, no, I always, I always advocate for things like this. I mean, and Chris, super respect to him. Like, I always think it's one thing to not do something because you can't. It's another thing to not do something because you choose not to. Chris Brown, and I mean, this guy is super talented. I mean, let us not forget that this is someone who was getting compared to Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson. He can sing, he can dance, he can act. I mean, he's incredibly talented. So when you have that many gifts and you can have some level of focus and just that level of maturity as well, coming from him, considering all that he's been through in his career, to say, yeah, I chose not to distract my audience from what it's really about. That's phenomenal. Like, I know some people are gonna jump to the number side of it. I'm thinking about the self-work that went into it to say, yo, I'm so good in here that I don't need these likes and these notifications to keep popping up on my phone to feel relevant, to feel needed, to feel valuable. So I think that part of it has to be highlighted. For all of us, we have to really recognize the importance of this being an inside-out journey, meaning that what you create on the outside is only going to be a reflection or as good as, or even as valuable as, what you recognize about yourself from within. So I see that completely there. So even with some of the decisions that I've made about how I want to utilize social media, because I understand the power of it, but I also understand how detrimental it can be if not used and channeled correctly. So I was someone who I feel misused social media or allowed social media to use me in a way that wasn't so healthy. So that's why the only way that I can gain some level of control was to say, all right, let me cut it off, do this, and then I'm gonna come back with my own rules. That's the truth from the internal part. I feel that as someone who is often bound by rules, when I can control the rules to some level of capacity, I have more success with it. And then, I do, like I said, that part about just not distracting your audience though, and that's super strategic on a business end to say, no, let me keep you focused on the main thing. The main thing is the music is what you know me for. It's what puts money in my pocket. It's the art that you appreciate of mine. So let me not show you anything else and give other whatever lifestyles or products or services free promotion. Let me keep you waiting so that when I do come back, something special is coming. So that rollout, I think, is pretty cool. And we all seen it. When someone goes away for a while, they trigger I don't know what sense this is, but the nosiness of all humans. And they're like, oh, what's he doing? What's he up to now? What's she doing? So I'm sure he's utilized that attention and channeled it in a way where it's like, no, yeah, what I'm doing is this album. Go check it out. Go, so that's pretty smart too.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at it because I always say to the point of if we Google you, if we look at your content at this moment, what do you want to be known for? Mm-hmm. And even though Chris has put his stamp when it comes to the music, he's still very in that same mindset. I don't want to put anything out there that would make people question what I do or what I'm about, or have I gotten too big-headed or anything like that. I want people to know that I'm all about the music. This is who I am. This is what you loved me for. This is what you came through for. And that's all that really matters. I think it gets very tricky when you are known for something and you sometimes put too much of the personal in there. And maybe he didn't honestly know how to balance it, right? And I do also believe that because of some of his personal past situations, he knew the way he got over those personal past situations was showing the work, was outworking everybody in his industry and staying elite in his game. So he probably goes about it in that standpoint too of, all right, some people have already gotten a glimpse of my personal life, and when they do, they make so much judgment from it, or they come up with their own conclusions. What I want you to conclude on is my music. That's all I want you to base me off of, not who I've dated, who I've not, what happened in my past. None of that. I want you to base me off of my music. And so when you kind of flip it to yourselves, it's more, and I'm for it. If you could balance it, please do. Please show who you are and what you do, because that makes a holistic kind of personal brand, right? That truly embodies why we love you, and we know you are super dope at this. But some people just don't know how to balance that, and they're not right or wrong for it. This is what's working for Chris Brown, and he's being open about, hey, look, I want to only show you the music. I don't think you care or should care how many cars I have. what painting I put up in my house, how much clothes I have, or anything like that. Now he does show his kids here and there, which is dope. He has an NFT project that had already launched or is about to launch, right? So it's still about the business.
Yeah.
And he's fine with that. For those people who are growing their brands, it's more of what is your balance? If you have balance. If you don't have balance, that's okay. What side are you picking?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have balance, what is your cadence? What is a healthy cadence for you that makes you feel that you can still be you, but you still are an expert in this particular industry? So I'm super for that.
That's a big fact. I like that. If you can't balance it, don't do it.
Thanks. So follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure you get into that free trial, that 14-day free trial with Ecamm Live, www.nickyandmoose.com/Ecamm for that 14-day trial. Moose, final words.
Yeah, man, don't create problems to every solution and call it hard work. Don't create problems to every solution and call it hard work. Some people, they're naturally gifted at finding a solution to every problem. Their mind automatically goes to that. But some of us, we prioritize our ego and being right over the solution. So don't create problems for every solution and call it hard work.